I am responsible for creating a lot of hurtful and damaging content on this channel. I've profited off of this bigoted content for years. Casual racism is still racism. Casual bigotry is still bigotry. I know that this apology isn't enough. I've clearly done a lot of damage. But the antisocial basement-dwelling incel that was inside here...
I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but I really do appreciate the support.
This is something that I should live the rest of my life with.
What the fuck happened? The one and only IDubbbz TV has dropped a new video called I Miss the Old IDubbbz. And I can tell you, this video is phenomenal.
And I think most importantly, I appreciate my wife, Anissa. Anissa, I love you. You're amazing.
He loves his wife. At the end of the day, he loves his wife. Very similar to a fellow man that we love on this channel. They just love their wives, and that is a great thing. And we should appreciate the support that Ian is giving his wife.
I love you.
Everybody hates him and his wife's a slut.
On a real note though, he spends this entire video lashing his past self for all the crimes and all the bad doings that he's done. All the harassment and bullying that he's done to other people.
You know, if I'm gonna have the balls to go to Tana's fan meetup and say slurs at her and then make a video about how it's okay to say slurs, I think I should have the balls to make an apology video and take accountability for the mistakes I've made.
Taking accountability. Just mark that one off on the bingo card of cancerous words that are going to be throughout this whole video. But as expected, based on IDubbbz's recent actions throughout the past few months, if not even years at this point, he's making, unironically, a content cop or apology on himself and the past things he's done. And he says some of the dumbest bullshit of all time, which I didn't even know this was possible, but he's harsher and he's bad faith. He's not charitable to his past self, to the extent where he misrepresents his previous statements and arguments that he made in previous videos to make it look like he was much worse of a guy. Like, this can't be the way out. This can't be the right step in IDubbbz. Looking at his demeanor, seeing him throughout the past few years, there's no way this is a happier and more fulfilling life for him than what he was in the past and how he operated then.
I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but I really do appreciate the support.
I am responsible for creating a lot of hurtful and damaging content on this channel. And I've also created a culture of apathy and, I don't know, a lot of like cruelty as well. Like, you know, some of the videos I've made have been very, not edgy. I don't think they you know, some of these videos were edgy. I think they were just outright cruel.
But wasn't that the point? They were cruel to get across your point of how much of a piece of shit or how stupid someone is in the name of comedy too. That's the thing that seems to be lacking throughout this whole video. How much that IDubbbz's whole character is built off of comedy and tongue-in-cheek shit.
Hurtful and damaging content.
Hurtful and damaging content are such weird ways to describe, I guess, what you would be referring to, like the prime example of hurtful or damaging, like the primetime bullying example is his content cop on Leafy. But that was all to illustrate the point that you're bullying the bully, and that's why it had such a positive reception amongst the masses, amongst the audience, because it resonated with people that the bully who's making fun of everyone else is actually just as insecure. And that even got more emboldened by Leafy's response, which was pretty lackluster and showed that he was more insecure than what he actually gave off. Like, is this really that deep to go down the route of hurtful content? He's going down like the rabbit hole of irresponsible platforming, where the fact that he bullied someone else or made jokes at someone else at someone else's expense, that's going to create more hatred in the world. Because I made fun of someone else in my content, that means there's going to be a world of more hate of random little teenagers going out and bullying their classmates, bullying their friends. Is it really that deep, dude? Is it that serious? I feel like this topic shouldn't be tackled from the perspective of the creator being irresponsible by telling jokes. Like, doesn't that take away so much artistic freedom? Like, it sounds goofy, right? To like call it artistic freedom when you make YouTube videos like shitting on someone else. But at the end of the day, that's what it is. There's no other way to describe it. So we rather shackle our artistic freedom to make jokes and make fun of someone else rather than just pushing the message that this is entertainment and it stops and starts at entertainment. And you shouldn't do these things at home. You shouldn't do these things to your classmates. You should just take entertainment as it is, like it's a TV TV show, like it's a movie. You shouldn't replicate these things at home. Wouldn't that be much more of an effective and overall better message to push on to people, as opposed to just cucking to not being able to call anyone an idiot or a fucking loser online? That's such a lame world to live in.
So I don't want people to, get it confused about, where I stand. I have made some cruel, hurtful content, and I need to acknowledge that, and I'm really sorry that it's taken me this long to acknowledge it.
Man, this is so sad seeing. I mean, IDubbbz is 32 at this point. Is this what maturing is? Is this what it means to like grow up and mature? To just cuck out this hard? This is so sad. I mean, like, think back at some of the most egregious things that IDubbbz has done. It's not even that bad. It's not even that crazy, which just puts this all into perspective, how much of an overreaction and how absurd this all is. That you would have to apologize this hard for making silly, goofy videos on going out in public and asking random people, hey, can you find this guy's chin? And just making fun of the way someone looks.
The content I'm talking about specifically are content cop videos and videos where I was just generally criticizing people for very lackluster reasons.
Lackluster reasons? So he's just completely denouncing all of the points he's made too in those previous videos? This is so weird. I mean, sure, looking back on like 2016 content, it's a lot more petty than nowadays, where people kind of need a higher bar of content to like go after someone for, as opposed just back in the day being a little bit cringe, which I want to kind of return to, where we should just make videos calling people cringe or whatever. But it seems like nowadays there's a higher bar, and yeah, going back to the content cops, maybe like a few points in either like the rice gum or maybe like even the Leafy video, sure, they could have been a little bit obnoxious and a little bit stupid and didn't really belong in there as like a valid criticism, but to denounce everything is so weird. Those are some of the most valid points in call-out videos on people like Keemstar, people like Leafy. I mean, Jesus Christ. There's a reason why Keemstar himself like looks back on his content cop and acknowledges, hey man, at the end of the day, it's a good video. Like, fuck IDubbbz because he made that video, but he still acknowledges it as good content. It's so weird seeing like the victim of the video acknowledging the video in higher regard than the actual creator years later.
I was morally grandstanding and acting as if I am any better than any of these people that I was making content cop videos on, and I'm not. I'm a human. I'm a real human who makes mistakes, and I make a different set of mistakes than the people I was making videos on, but it doesn't matter. I don't think anyone deserves that level of cruelty or hate.
Was he though? Looking back on his old videos calling out other people, was he really taking the moral standpoint of he's so much better? I more just got the impression that, hey, he was just calling out these people for being a dumbass because they did dumbass things. Just because you call out someone else for being a dumbass doesn't mean that inherently you're saying that you are automatically 100% of a better person and you're up here and Keemstar's down here, morally speaking. And I don't think many people took it that way either, because you've seen responses when people genuinely do morally grandstand, and it usually comes across as so cringe and not authentic when people do genuinely morally grandstand against someone else and say, I'm a better person, you're worse because of this, this, and this. The response to those kind of messages are not well received at all. So I don't know what he's talking about. I never got that impression from his old videos.
It's also indoctrinated a lot of people into thinking that this is an okay way to behave, and it's not. It's super irresponsible.
Holy cringe. Get out your bingo cards. Irresponsible and indoctrination. Who are you indoctrinating with your old videos? You're indoctrinating little kids to make fun of their parents, to make fun of their classmates, calling them retards because you called someone else retarded online. Like, again, are we just shackling and cucking ourselves this hard that we can't even make fun of someone else online because we're too scared about how other people are going to respond to that, or if other people in real life are going to make fun of someone else because of this? This is just so depressing.
I was being very bigoted in a lot of my videos, and I justified it because, I didn't think it was too serious, and I thought that people were going to see that I had good intentions.
Oh, holy cringe, dude. Bigoted? Really?
Casual racism is still racism. casual bigotry is still bigotry.
Casual racism is still racism.
And, I said a lot of things that I look back at and I cringe now, and I'm like, that is an awful thing to say. It doesn't matter what my intentions are. Like, if I'm hurting people, I'm hurting people.
Is he talking about like the N-word arc he went on in the Tana Mongeau content cop? Because that wasn't just like, was that racism? Was that racism? I mean, say what you want and have the impression that you want on IDubbbz going to Tana Mongeau in real life and saying say N-word right in front of her right before they take a picture. Think what you want. If you think that's casual racism here and there, whatever. But the main point of that video, which I assume is like the biggest thing he hates about his past actions, the main point of that was hypocrisy. And hypocrisy around the N-word and hypocrisy around Tana Mongeau. Because if you remember Tana Mongeau, she was saying the N-word and then called out IDubbbz for being racist and also saying the N-word. So it was ironic and funny, especially because context matters around that word, whether you want to admit it or not. And Tana Mongeau was using the N-word in context way more aggressive and insulting, as opposed to IDubbbz just using it for the sake of comedy and proving a point for a little skit in his video. And also, at the end of the video, he brought up on how all slurs are regarded in such a lower level than the N-word. And why don't we as a society just accept, hey, why don't we just not say slurs and insult people on the basis of their race? I mean, you see the same things. I mean, it's so prevalent even nowadays with this whole recent cracker discourse, and people think it's okay to say cracker or insult someone to say cracker. Which, hey man, at the end of the day, I'm not losing my mind over people using the word cracker. But I feel like as a society, you can't just justify these two things, where you can insult someone for calling them a cracker, which is on the basis of their race, but you can't insult someone using the N-word. These things don't apply. Obviously, N-word has much more weight and much more significance at the end of the day because of the history, as opposed to cracker. That's true, yes. But at the end of the day, it's still a derogatory term that's used to insult someone on the basis of their race. So IDubbbz was just pointing out, hey man, at the end of the day, all are okay or none are okay. You can't go around calling people cracker, calling people any other slur, and then get mad when people do the same thing with the N-word. Like, these things just logically don't align. And to think that saying that message is casual racism or bigotry is insane.
I'm sorry to everyone that I made content cop videos on. I still don't like the majority of you, and that's fine, but I can recognize that you did not deserve the hate and harassment that I sent your way. I particularly want to apologize to Tana. Tana, I'm sorry. I should have never made that video. I harassed Tana in person and then harassed her online, and that's deplorable behavior.
And then he apologizes for... Oh my, this is 10 times worse than anything you could have expected. He apologizes to all the past people he's made videos on. That's insane. That's insane behavior. And he's so scared too in this video to even acknowledge any of the previous points that what he said are correct, because he's so scared about optics. This is so sad that people have become so shackled by worrying about optics and how they sound, as opposed to just saying the truth and saying what they really believe.
I'm also sorry to all the black viewers and minority groups.
This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. But yeah, no, that's essentially the main points of the video. He just goes on self-hating himself, lashing himself back and forth again and again for all the horrible things he's done in his past. The most cringe and one of the worst downfalls I can think of in recent memory of how high he was regarded on online culture, online spaces, anything, and how low he's sunken. Where at the end of the day, man, I always thought for the past few years, people were too hard on IDubbbz. And if he wanted to change up his as he grew, that's completely fine. If he never wanted to make a content cop ever again, that's completely fine. Hey man, at 32, who knows? I mean, people change at the end of the day. It doesn't matter, and it's fine if you want to make different content. But this amount of self-cucking and disavowing all these previous actions you've done in the past is the most cringe shit in the world. And what makes it even worse is that your reasons are so retarded and they're not even correct. So sad and so disappointing. I think I saw like this video the other day of like old IDubbbz having a conversation with new IDubbbz, and it was an edit that was put together. And just seeing the comparison is so depressing as someone who unironically used to be my favorite content creator, with the bad unboxings, with the, what is it, Kickstarter craps back in the day. Man, that was gold. And just how sad. But hey man, that's just that's how the water flows. At least at the end of the day, we do know one great thing about IDubbbz.
Anissa, I love you.